Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pi, to Pauli Institute on Pi Day. Today, March 14, is the National Day of Mathematics, and unfortunately, we cannot do a real presence meeting again. Our friends from China, they cannot travel or under extremely difficult conditions, which is not possible for mathematicians. Our friends from the United States, America cannot come. So some European friends can travel, but we are still in a situation that is not at all normal concerning the pandemic. So welcome back to the third edition of what was an emergency solution 2 years ago, 2 years ago, when the first lockdown in Austria started. And let's first have a brief outlook and a brief souvenir about the situation of the pandemic. Currently, we have in Austria the highest number of new cases per day ever. And this is a new coronavirus, so in some sense, it's not really comparable to the situation 1 and 2 years ago. But we are not out of the pandemic, and what will happen this fall will be a separate issue of prognosis. So let's come to one of the topics we discuss every year. What is the role of mathematics in a pandemic like this? And my very pessimistic estimate what mathematics does became even more pessimistic. So mathematical modeling in the sense that you do partial differential equations, SIR model, agent-based models, forward computation. It was even more disaster than ever in the last year. In Austria, some so-called experts of simulations who were simulating expertise declared the pandemic to be finished in September 21, just when we were in exponential growth, based on SIR models that missed the key model assumption that vaccination is a time-dependent thing. So 6 months after the Pfizer vaccination, you are not protected by the vaccination, which is something that end of summer last year we all knew from Israel. And in Austria, the so-called mathematical modelers did a complete wrong model, complete wrong prognosis. And even today, it's a complete disaster. So mathematics actually is something that was not helpful, other than by the thumb times pi estimate. We could do analog models with a 1% precision for several weeks. And in November, December, Peter Markovich, when he was asked on television, what is the number of cases per day that you expect? He said 50,000. Thumbs times pi. The 50,000 were reached with 1% precision, 49,000 and something. So again, educated guesses based on the data from other countries that you integrate in your heuristic brain of a good mathematician. So if you're an excellent mathematician, you can give estimates that turn out to be much more precise than anything that was produced with any sophisticated model when it comes to long-term prognosis. The other role of mathematics in a pandemic is also something that has not improved, to do good statistics, to get the information of the data that medical doctors or some people with the pandemic produce. So let's say the data is very critical. We don't know how the numbers really come from. So you have a lot of uncertainty in the data, but the way that in medical publications statistics is done, data is processed, is still something that many more excellent mathematicians should move into modeling, should move into statistics. It's in the hands of not even mathematicians. So that's a real problem of society for many years that has become very, very obvious in the pandemic. Now, today, we will not talk only about the pandemic as a crisis. We are in the beginning of a catastrophe. So there's the climate catastrophe, of course. But I talk about the fact, why do I wear a black T-shirt with mathematical symbols? So it's a compromise. It's not fun It's not fun for everybody in Ukraine. It's a complete disaster. There is a war waging, and it's difficult to be really happy when you know that so many colleagues in mathematics, physics, and other fields in all sciences, not only scientists, but we talk about them, are really suffering. And this is not something that will be over soon. So from the Pauli Institute, we have started the Pauli Ukraine project, where we try to help scientists blocked in Ukraine. Men cannot leave between 18 and 60, and they are there, they lose their salary, they are in a very difficult situation. And we try to send money to Ukraine by special scholarships to help the colleagues in all fields of science, starting from mathematics and physics, to survive there in a country in the middle of a war. Now, was this war in Ukraine a complete surprise? No. In 2014, the war has started when Putin was seizing the Crimea and the parts of the Donbass, and it was clear what will come. I mean, I don't want to play the prophet, but I can prove it because in September 2016, when there was the competition for the International Congress in Mathematics this year, the ICM 22, there was a bid from Russia, there was a bid from France. And as director of the Pauli Institute, and as the director of the Institut CNRS Pauli, of course, I was supporting the French bid. I wanted to be in France, everywhere, not only Paris, this July for the International Congress of Mathematics, and it was competing with Russia. And in September 2016, so 1.5 years after Putin invaded Crimea and Donbass, I wrote, "Let me add that I strongly oppose to the idea of giving the ICM 22 to Russia. The democratic world must not tolerate Russia's use of military force in Ukraine to seize parts of an independent European country. To send a clear signal of the IMU that Russia cannot host such an international event unless it respects international law would be a small contribution to try to stop Mr. Putin." So there were people who saw it coming, and I was actually surprised it came so late. So they were waiting after the Olympics in Beijing, obviously. And now we're in a situation that will change not only the economic world, but will change the world. So let's think of our colleagues in Ukraine, but also of our colleagues in Russia, because the majority of academic people, of course, is not happy with what happens. On the contrary, they are as shocked as we are. And some of the Russian colleagues who protest openly will lose their position, might go to jail. In the tradition of the dissidents, of people like Sakharov, we are in a similar situation now. So there were 2 years with 7 people all over the world that gave a small contribution. And you know, my role is to introduce the 7 international friends that will give a contribution and that will tell us wherever they are what is the COVID situation and how they feel about, maybe also about the Ukraine situation. So this year we have Alfio Quattarone, the #1 applied mathematician in Italy according to a not so stupid ranking. He is currently in Crete and he will give us a contribution. And Alfio is the perfect example that mathematics can be very useful for medicine. He does extraordinary thing with good numerics, good modeling to help surgery for the heart and other things. Doron Levy again, the second speaker from the United States of America. Peter Markowitz is somewhere lost in Saudi Arabia. He did not react to the demand 10 days ago to send a video. You know, there were 81 executions last Friday in Saudi Arabia. So I hope Peter is not a victim there. So we have to replace Peter. Xi Jin from Shanghai. He had tremendous success in the last year. So for China, the COVID crisis was seized as a chance. Very impressive what's happening inside China. And there's Chenan Chu from Peking, from Beijing University in Beijing. Also fresh and in good mood as always. So our Chinese friends cannot travel, but they're online. Idris Titi, for personal reason that I respect, cannot contribute today. He is okay. He is in Cambridge, but he cannot give a contribution. Claude Bados, the doyen of our community, he will celebrate 82 years in 4th of April. He's okay, he's also with Edison Cambridge, and he has a contribution. So how can you replace by 2 men? Well, we found 1 woman. This year is not only 7 men, but is 1 woman who is Sofia Kantorovich. She's Russian. She's half mathematician, half physicist. And she's also the vice president of Paula Institute. And so if you miss 2 men, take 1 woman and you can replace them. Okay, so let's see what our friends all over the world think about Pi Day 22. Thank you.
Dear friends, I'm in Crete, in Greece, as you can see. What a better place to celebrate the Pi Day. The Pi Day, P is, in Italian we say Pi Greco, Greek P. This is the place where mathematics was born, right? And this is a place where you can feel home in this respect. Too bad that these days our heart is so heavy because of the Ukrainian war. Mathematicians are used to the dialogue. We are peaceful guys. We tend to discuss and to agree on principles, to agree on the truth. And let's hope that this could be the case also for this time. Let's hope that the peace will be reached very, very soon. All the best to all of you. Best wishes.
Here we go again. My name is Doran Levy, and I'm speaking from the University of Maryland in College Park. This year, we finally tried to return back to normal, and in many ways we have. Everyone is now back on campus. Pretty much all of our classes are being held in person. Students are happy to be back in the classroom. Well, most of the students are. Professors are also very happy to see students. Most of the professors. Many of our seminars and research activities are back in person, and most importantly, everyone is around. Even the mask mandate was removed a week ago, and you can start identifying your colleagues. This year brought a lot of big news to our department, including a major gift in the form of the Brin Mathematics Research Center. We are already planning a lot of activities for next year, which will be the inaugural year of the center. So much more news is yet to come. It is also very difficult here. I try to call it a normal year, but, these days just watching the news, it's far from normal. So, what can I say? A message for peace for everyone. Peace is what we all need. In the meantime, I would like to wish everyone a wonderful and happy Pi Day. And I will end with our traditional blessing, Sam Time Pi.
Hello, this is Xu Jin from Shanghai. 2 years ago, I participated in this event online after I just returned from Paris during my quarantine time at home. Unfortunately, 2 years has passed, but this time again I have to stay home since Shanghai is being hit by another wave of Omicron. Well, life has been pretty much normal in the last 2 years until now, but I'm pretty sure that this will be the last year we have to do this online. I think the worst has passed. Mathematics-wise, we have been doing great in the last 2 years. We established the Shanghai National Center for Applied Mathematics, sponsored by China's Ministry of Science and Technology. My institute has also hired a few excellent young researchers in machine learning, data science, AI, and quantum computing. Our annual research funding increases by 600% over the previous years. So although the world pauses sometimes, our mathematics activities and productivities never stops. Finally, Best wishes for the Ukraine and hope the war stops and the world will become a peaceful one. Happy Pi Day.
Hello from Beijing, China. This is Zhenan Zhou from Peking University. It is my great pleasure to participate in another year's celebration of the International Pi Day with the Pauli Institute and the friends from all over the world. So during the last few years, we have seen maybe too much the pandemic, the war, and the people with very divided thoughts. I guess during this uneasy era, it's very important for us to help one another. And the support and aid that can go directly to the civilian should mean the most. Also, witnessing the ups and downs made me cherish the regular research life even more. At this moment in Beijing, we are, in almost normal mode. So we are doing the on-site teaching, and I can talk to my colleagues and the students in front of the blackboard and take the privilege of feeling the subtle friction of using the chalk. But still have fewer seminars and conferences because travel is still a bit difficult. At last, I hope everyone is having a good time during the Pi Day, and I hope I can see you guys soon in person.
From Cambridge, UK. And it is Pi Day, and Pi Day for mathematicians is surely an opportunity to renew contact. Contact more important in this period of crisis than they were any time, and for this community, hubs like the Wolfgang Pauli Institute are excellent place to relay all our affection, solidarity, and even common sense facing the craziness of the leader of the world.
Hi, my name is Sofia Kantorovich and I'm a professor at the University of Vienna. I'm a big fan of pi. I'm even a bigger fan of 4pi, as probably any theoretical physicist doing physics of magnetism is. In fact, I did physics for the last 20 years of my life. However, I'm a mathematician by education. I got my master's from Eurostate University, that is in Yekaterinburg in Russia. Yes, I'm a Russian mathematician. And using Pi Day, I want to say something. As a Russian citizen, I condemn the war that Russian government started in Ukraine. And all my heart and my thoughts are with friends, colleagues, and people in Ukraine. My heart and my thoughts are also with Russian friends and colleagues, those that stay in Russia and cannot speak up without risking. Speak up against the war. And there are many. Pi, as it is related to a circle. And circle is something that should unite. So I hope that the war will stop, the madness will stop, and we will unite back. And as long as mathematics is the basis of information technologies and data technologies, I think it is crucially important to use this data to avoid the polarization and the separation. Let's use modern technology, modern data technology, to make love, not war. And let the color of the passport not be identifier of a personality. So I wish all of us a lot of love on Pi Day. Happy Pi Day!
So, as an epilogue, like every year, we are in the seminar room of Pauli Institute. Inma, who was helping me, she's finishing her bachelor in mathematics. And we installed the new equipment today. You see the boxes. Finally, we have a very good audio-video system, not only for lectures and for workshops. So good friends can come again. The floors are empty because it's 5:30 in the afternoon, but students can come to class, at least 1/3 of them is present. And so here is Peter. And thank you, and see you again next year for a real big party on the 14th of March, where we will celebrate, all of us, Chinese, American, Russian, Ukrainian, in person. Thank you.
Hello, this is Maxi and Birgit Mauser, and our Thumbs Times Pi estimate is that this pie is going to be delicious.